Dear brothers and sisters, the saints in Christ, welcome to a new episode. The issue of the uncleanness of women actually was like a big issue on the Facebook, and for my shock, that I found some people that they said it is already in the Bible, and some of them even they were graduates from theological colleges. So I decided to go deeper in this to prove the following. Whereas you judge the woman as unclean, in fact, you judge yourself by the same text that you are also unclean, as we'll see now. So this means what? It means two things. Number one, there is a twisting. In fact, there is a twisting and forging in the interpretation of the text of the Bible, of the Old Testament, to be only applied to the woman. That was the first bit. The second bit, also, there is hypocrisy and the discrimination against women in the same text. All right? When you apply it only to women. So let's read this together. It's in the book of Leviticus, chapter 15. Okay? What does it say? If a woman has a discharge and the discharge from her body is blood, she shall be set apart 7 days. Okay? And now listen, there will be three things. We'll talk about them. The first thing, and whoever touches her shall be unclean till evening. So number one, there is a lady, she got this discharge. Number one, if someone touches her, he is also, or of course she, but I'm talking about men, he is also unclean. He is also unclean. So take some examples. If this lady is your wife, and you came home and you shake hand, or she kisses your hand if you're the priest or whatever, or you have a daughter in her period, the same thing, or even a lady in the street, or you're visiting someone and you shake hand and she was unclean. This means that you are unclean too. And 100% this happens. We'll continue and I'll prove you to more stuff. Next one. Next one. Everything that she lies on, yes, like the bed or the couch, during her impurity, shall be unclean. Yes? So now my question to you is, do you share the same bed when your wife has the period? Absolutely. You sleep next to her in the same bed. This means what? You are unclean. Okay? Because you sleep next to her, or you sleep on the same bed, right? And so if she sleeps on this bed and you sleep on it at the same, when she is unclean, you became unclean too. Could be your daughter, you sit on her bed for any reason, you'd like to have a talk with her, and she had the period. This means what? You are unclean. If you have your mom, for example, lives with you, or your mother-in-law, I'm talking like if you are a person like an adult and you get married. So all these issues will make you unclean. So as you say she is unclean, you're exactly unclean. All right? Next. So this is something that related to the place where she sleeps on. Next. Number 3. Everything that she sits on shall be unclean. Whoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bath in water and be unclean until the evening. And whoever touches anything that she sat on, like a chair or toilet or car, if you share the same car, you share the same toilet, so where she sits, you sit, you are unclean. She sits on the couch to watch the TV, you are next to her, you are unclean. All right? Shall wash his clothes and bath in water and be unclean till the evening. And by the way, if anything is on her bed or in anything on which she sits, when he touches, he shall be unclean until evening. So the conclusion is, once you have one person at home that is unclean, this means what? Because of the daily dealings, everyone there is unclean. So don't say she, it's you too. It's you too. All right, I'm talking about men, because men say, oh, okay, this is there. This is not. Absolutely. So while you say she's unclean, you are absolutely unclean too. All right, so let's continue. So what happens actually, the Jewish Orthodox person never touch a woman at all in his life. At all. Why? Especially the ones that he doesn't like know closely. Why? Because he might touch a lady, and of course you will not tell him, sorry, I cannot touch you because I got the period. Also sometimes the way a woman wouldn't know she got the period until she finds out when she goes to the toilet, for example. She could be at work, she could be doing shopping, she could be walking, she could be anywhere, could be in even the church. And when she goes back home and she goes, for example, whatever, then she finds some dots or some drops of blood in her undies. Then she realizes she got the period. So what happened before that? Everyone touched her at that time with what? Became unclean, including the priest, if he was giving her like the ulugiya. So what I would like to say now, if anyone is unclean at home because of there is no restrictions among Christians about this. In fact, if you apply Leviticus 15, everyone there is unclean too, including you, and it will come now especially for the priests. Okay, now. So what is the twisting? The twisting of what I read, that you apply it only on women. And what is the hypocrisy and the discrimination? You do not apply it to the men. Understand what I'm saying? If she's unclean and you touch her, this means what? You also unclean. So not only her, but also you. So while you judging her, she's unclean, you actually yourself is unclean. Next. The same law of the Old Testament says also, if someone, whether men or women, is unclean during any celebration of religious stuff or religious event, they should not participate in this. All right, and you know why I'm mentioning this now. So we'll take the rule or the law, then we apply it, because I would like to send this to the priests, to the priests in particular. What happened is, in one of the celebrations that the Lord said to be done as religious celebration, Sabbath, that every week, and also the beginning of the month. It's a big celebration, by the way. There's trumpet and there's some offerings, and many people actually used to get together like the feast and celebrate religiously. But if someone is unclean, is not allowed to attend. All right. So we'll read a situation like that in the first book of Samuel, chapter 20. Saul the king used to have to take this beginning of the month as a celebration thing, and have all his head people or principals or the people of good position, including David, of course, to have this celebration. But if someone is unclean, is not obliged. He actually should not celebrate. So what happened is, and David said to Jonathan, "Indeed, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king to eat," which he used to do. "But let me go, that I may hide in the field until the third day at evening." Then Jonathan said to David, "Tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be missed because your seat will be empty." So what happened? Now the king sat on his seat as at other times, on a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abineri sat by Saul's side, but David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul did not say anything that day. In other words, he said, why David is absent, why he is not like attending as every time. Why he did not say anything? For he thought, this is thought, something happened to him. He is unclean. Surely he is unclean. Like he said, he might have a wet dream. You know what we're talking about, of course. So he is unclean. That's why he did not attend this celebration. What I would like to come out of this is celebrating religious celebrations cannot be participated by men and women who are unclean. Now, to the priests of the New Testament, they consider themselves priests. If your wife got a period and 100% you sleep next to her in the bed, 100% you share seats together when you sit together for any reason, 100% you touch her and you touch her and she touches you. Maybe when you come in, ahlan abuna, welcome, whatever. Yeah, so what happened? This means what? You are unclean and you should not go and do the mass or pray the mass, and you should not go perform any religious thing. Like, don't say I have a baptism. No, you cannot do it, sir, because you are unclean. Don't say I have to do like weddings, like iklil ceremony. No, you cannot go. You cannot go and do. That's it. Finished. Full stop. So I'll repeat this again. Unclean people, according to the Old Testament laws that you take to say the woman is unclean, unclean men cannot participate in these religious celebrations. They cannot. So you cannot go there. You cannot. 100% you sleep and use the same bed. Use the same toilet. Right? Maybe use the same car. All right? So 100% during this period, 100% sometimes, whether intentionally or not intentionally, you touch her or she touches you. Or you sit where she sits. Or you sleep next to her in the same bed, right? We all have this situation. You don't have two beds. By the way, Jews do this. They have two beds in the bedroom because of this time, but you don't. So this means what? Those priests should not go because they are unclean. If he says she is unclean, you also are unclean. You also unclean. All right. Next, in the book of Leviticus chapter 23. Also, even during a war, if there is a soldier got something at night, which is like a wet dream, then he must go out. Because it's considered that this is wars for God and he is among his people, so the person is unclean, so he should go out. We'll read this again. If there is any man among you who becomes unclean by some occurrence in the night, occurrence at night, this is an expression by the Bible, means wet dreams. You have to call it now with dreams. Then he shall go outside the camp. Camp means here the battlefield. He shall not come inside the camp. Leviticus chapter 23. So according to the Old Testament laws, this means what? If a man have this wet dream, or according to the Bible terminology, something happened or occurred during night, he should not participate in the celebrations of like a mass or any religious celebration. Okay, how about the bishops? How about the monks? All right, because I got some friends. I got one that was very close to me, and actually very close age-wise, and he was actually he loves the Bible. I love the Bible, so sometimes we speak like that. And I was actually taking him as my confession father. That was many years ago when I was Orthodox. Still, so far we are good friends, biblical wise. Otherwise, not. Okay, that's it. So we don't pray together. I don't go to the church anymore. All right. So I actually asked him, Abuna, because he is a monk, and he comes to the masses many days per week. Then I asked him what situation if something like that happened to a monk. I didn't tell him exactly for you. He said, what shall we do, Habibi? We have to go to the church. No, you don't have to go to church. You are unclean, you should not go. You are unclean, you should not go. That's it. I read many years ago about the rituals of the Day of Atonement in the Leviticus chapter 16. it happens only once a year. Plenty of rituals to be done, and should be only done only by the high priest. No one else can do it. So what happens if the high priest got a wet dream for any reason? So to overcome this situation, they said, I read this in some of the like Jewish interpretation of this thing. That night, the high priest must stay awake. He should not to sleep. Otherwise, he might have something like that, and this will not be done. And this means what? The whole nation is not forgiven, they will not have atonement and not forgiveness, because atonement is different than forgiveness. It's just like sort of covering, but the forgiveness later on when Jesus himself became the true lamb. So the bottom line is, the high priest, to be concerned about this, that night he must stay like awake. So to say, he stays awake all night, like reviewing the rituals. Could be some of the priests will be with him during the night also, to assure and to make sure everything is ready, and he remembers and knows everything, because plenty of rituals to be done only by him. And if something goes wrong, people might say, this means the Lord did not accept the sacrifice because something went wrong. All right. So if you are a monk or a bishop, because now bishops are not married, if you have like a mass, then you must stay awake all night, not to have a wet dream. But you know what? This just go. Why? They are men, but the other one is woman. So this is what? Twisting the interpretation of the Bible. This is number one. Number two, it's a hypocrisy and discrimination for gender purposes. So it's absolutely junk. So what I wanted now to finish with is, if someone tells you you are unclean because you're a woman, tell him also, here we go, touch him, you're also unclean. All right, that's it, full stop. So the verse in the beginning, it says, if she is unclean. The second half of the verse says, whoever touches her also unclean, whether man or woman. And 100% you touch your wife or your daughter or your mom or some of your neighbors without knowing. So you are unclean. So if you are a priest, do not go. All right? That's it. All right? There is another episode is coming, but it has a disastrous thing. That will be the following one. Okay? Anyway, unless the Lord comes, we'll meet again another episode. May the Lord bless you all. Salam alaikum.